Is there a benefit to having small or bigger meals through the day when you're trying to lose body fat? Now, if you see my other video, you'll know that actually if calories are matched, there's no benefit in terms of stoking the metabolism to having big meals over small meals, as long as the calories are balanced. So is there another consideration? There is. The other consideration has to be your hunger spikes during the day. And to illustrate this, I've got a little graph here, and the triangles are above the squares because I like my graphs nice and balanced. The red line represents how satisfied you are, i.e. how unhungry you are. You have your full of food zone here, so when you're not hungry because you've just eaten. You have the hunger zone, so this is you're starting to think about food, and if food was put in front of you, probably eat it or consider eating it. And then you have the hangry zone, and the hangry zone is if I don't eat something, someone will die. So most of us don't really get into the hangry zone most of the time in the day, otherwise people would die. So the way the day runs normally, you get up, you have a breakfast or your first meal, your hunger dissipates, so you go into the full of food zone. And as the food is digested, you start to get hungry again. So you dip below the full line and you start to get hungry. Now, as you dip into this line, this is where food temptations can come in. And as you drop down and down and down and get more hungry, you're into the snack attack zone. And this is where you walk past the biscuits or the donuts, or someone offers you a crisp or something like that. And because you are slightly hungry, you start to consider eating, and you might even eat it and break your diet. Now, the issue with having small meals through the day is that because you're only having small meals, because you have to consider your calorie deficit, which is a limited amount of food, you are probably going to head into this snacking zone quite regularly during the day, and it's your willpower, your control, that stops you having those foods or not. And with 6 meals, we're going to be into it fairly often in the day. Now, that's okay, most people can control that, but what about if we have things like an extended meeting, or we have to pick up the kids unexpectedly, or we have to do some errands which we weren't planning? Well, it might be that you miss your meal, and actually because you've missed this meal, you now go into the hangry zone, and actually you might then just go to McDonald's or get a pizza or something like that, get a takeaway to offset your hunger, which is now intense. So there is a real risk of smaller meals if you haven't planned out your day impeccably in order to survive on the diet. Now, conversely, if we look at the big meal option, so it's the same day but different meal options. We eat breakfast in the morning or the first meal. Because the breakfast is so big, we then go massively into this full of food zone where we are satisfied for a much longer period of time. And so our hunger doesn't start to rear its head until a long while after it would normally do with the smaller meals. And then obviously, yes, we're into the snacking zone, so there is a risk there. There's a risk that we might actually snack on something. But as we're coming into this, we realise it's been a couple of hours, so we might actually want to then eat something. We eat a big meal again, so we're into this full of food zone for a long period of time, and then we're into the snacking zone, and then so on and so forth. The idea with the big meals is that you're trying to satisfy yourself for longer with bigger meals that fill your stomach up and send that signal to the brain that you are full and satisfied for longer. This is the approach I use when I diet normally, because I don't like lots of infrequent meals, and I like to eat a lot of food at a meal so that my senses are satisfied that I've eaten a bigger meal. There's no right or wrong way here, but this is just to illustrate that the smaller meal option might not be the best one for you if you are a very busy person and your day is going to be preoccupied with doing things that maybe aren't on your plan.